Welcome to Audiobook Connection, the weekly podcast that pulls back the curtain on the audiobook world. I'm your host, Becky Parker-Geist, and we're here to help authors, narrators, and listeners connect more deeply with the stories they love. Let's dive in. Going wide in audiobook distribution gets you everywhere, but it doesn't get you your customers. Good news, though. There is a place where it does. So let's get into it. I'm your host, Becky Parker-Geist, here on the Audiobook Connection podcast. So first of all, let's do sort of the quick tour about wide distribution. And I'm going to touch on just a few of the largest distribution channels that you may be considering. I just want to remind you that this is the third episode in a series on audiobook distribution and the shakeup that is happening in 2026. So I do encourage you to go back if you haven't yet and listen to the first two in the series. All right, so let's talk about some of the other platforms and what they're offering and how that works. What used to be Findaway Voices and is no longer, the history on that real quick was that Spotify bought Findaway Voices and then split it into Spotify for Authors and Voices in Audio. And so Spotify just goes to Spotify. Guess that's obvious. But in audio goes to the other retailers that they had already been distributing to. Voices in Audio, they cover about 30 plus retailers, including libraries. And they will give about 20% of the net. I want to be really clear about it's the net. That means that that's what the distributor receives. They give 80% of what's left over after the retail platform has already taken the major cut of the revenue. The revenue being what the customer pays, right? Now, they have no upfront fee for that, but they're going to take a big piece of the action of every sale price for the lifetime of the audiobook. And that's something that most people don't think about. Overall, over the lifetime of an audiobook, that can, if you're doing any kind of marketing and doing sales, that could really add up to a lot of money overall. And they're still not providing anything except a place, another online store where it's landing. They're not doing any marketing for you. And pretty much they're not letting you know who your customers are. They're not giving you really any tools to use to build your customer base. So it's really just a placement, the cost of a placement on a platform. And that's similar for the other platforms. Okay, let's go to Spotify. So they split theirs off and they're giving you about 50% of the set price on a la carte spending, but most of what they're paying out in royalties is this subscription pool share. It varies, and there is no disclosed rate that I'm aware of. If anyone out there is aware of any kind of specific rate, please do let me know. I want to keep everyone informed as best I can. And then we've been talking about ACX. Listen to the first two episodes for the real detail on what they're offering. But basically, the big shakeup with ACX is that they are shifting their structure on royalty payout to what they're calling a percentage of member value. And that is very murky in terms of the real details. And just like with their current payout structure, they'll tell you it's a number. It's, 40%, 25%, 50%, whatever, but they never actually say of what. And that is a big issue. So let's dive in a little bit further into libraries. Now, these, you can access them through Voices in Audio, and these are really Overdrive, which serves Libby, and then Hoopla. These are not sales per se, they are rentals, and so they pay per checkout. So it's treated a bit differently. And then the distributor that we use primarily for broad distribution because they get it out to the most channels, and I think that is important. And they have the best customer service. So a big shout out to Authors Republic. I've been working with Authors Republic for years now, since just a couple of months after they opened and started providing services. And they've been great all the way through. So big shout out to them. They get the title out to over 60 channels, and that can include all these that I'm already naming. But then you have just one dashboard that you need to take a look at, a much simpler approach, and I think makes sense. So they pay out, I believe it is 80%, again, of the net that they receive. So you always want to remember that when you go to these distribution channels, they are saying a percentage, and you must remember what they're saying a percentage of, because that makes a huge, huge difference in what you're actually going to receive. Now, there are a couple direct sales tools or direct sales channels, some of which you may have heard of. BookFunnel is one, Shopify is another. There may be others, but these are platforms where really what they're doing is providing you with some tools to allow you to directly deliver or fulfill a sale for audiobook or print book, ebook. And so in that case, because it is direct sale and you're selling from your own website, you do get a higher percentage. So they're just taking out a small percentage, but they're also covering, like, there's merchant fees. That merchant fees are basically the cost of having that banking system in between that facilitate the transactions between banks. So going from your bank account to their bank account, or from your customer's bank account to your bank account, that kind of thing. Now, let's talk about AMPlify. You've probably heard about AMPlify Audiobooks by this point if you've been listening to my podcast at all, because I do talk about it a lot. It is so groundbreaking. And when it comes to distribution, this is the main area of the audiobook world where AMPlify fits. So it's distribution and marketing all built into one. So in some ways, it is a little bit like BookFunnel and Shopify, in that there is a monthly subscription fee for access to all the tools. And the pricing is not so different between the platforms, between, let's say, like BookFunnel, delivering audiobooks as well, and then and AMPlify, the cost there. But the tools, now there's a big difference there, and that's what I'm excited to share with you now. So there is, like I said, when you're trying to sell directly, let me back up for just a moment because I want to clarify something that I haven't talked about recently, and that is, when you think about selling a book, like a print book, it's a physical object, obviously. So it's something that you can take the single object and you can sell it fairly easily, in person or online. An ebook is a single object. It's a digital object, but it's a single unit that you can also fairly easily sell online. A little trickier in person, although you could sell it on a flash drive or something like that. An audiobook is a whole different beast in that it is a package of files. So an audiobook is the cover image, it's the metadata, it is each audio file in the course of the audiobook. So each chapter is its own audio file. And it's split up and runs as a playlist. So that is what an audiobook actually is. It's a digital product that runs as a playlist and has metadata all wrapped together. If you're wondering, well, is that just, why can't it be just a single file? Well, a single audio file, just imagine for like an 11-hour book. Can you imagine how long, if you've ever tried to download or upload something that is really big file, it really takes a long time and can be really troublesome if you're trying to play it because your devices are really struggling with the huge amount of data that is all held together in an audio file, this audio data. Okay, so I just want to put that question aside, sort of set that to rest for now. And now, so coming back to the complexity of what an audiobook is, now you can see that a direct sale of an audiobook becomes much trickier, right? We need that delivery system to be able to have a good user experience with your audiobook. And this is why for audiobook listening, you need some kind of app, whether it is a web app, and all that means is that you go online and maybe on your laptop, could be on your phone, on any device that can access the internet. You can play it from that website. That's a web app or a mobile app. Like, I'll use the example of Audible. Audible has a mobile app. You can put it on your phone or other devices, but it's designed for a mobile device, and then you can play it that way. AMPlify Audiobooks also has its own mobile app and now has its own web app. The web app is new as of this year. So this is a part of this 2026 distribution shakeup. It's a big change. And why? Because there are a lot of things that can be built into a web app that are much better suited for a web app than they are potentially for a mobile app. Mobile apps are still really great for the listening experience, and the mobile app does reflect what the web app also has. All right. So I don't want you thinking that, oh, they're like totally different things. They are directly connected. But the thing I'm trying to point out is that with this release of the web app, we have been able to roll out some incredible features that really are game-changing. Previously, and still, you've been able on the app or as a part of AMPlify Audiobooks to be able to earn 65% of the gross amount of what the customer pays. And you'll always know what that is, full transparency, because you set the price. You don't just submit an MSRP, a suggested retail price. You actually set the price and control the price at all times. You might modify the price by offering discount codes of some kind, any different kind. You could give it away free for reviews or whatever, or for family, friends. You could do 50%, 20%, $2 off. It doesn't matter. Whatever you want. Use your imagination. Be creative. Maybe it's $11.11 off. Whatever works for you and your numerology or favorite numbers or whatever. So, unlimited discount codes of any kind. Also, you could run a promotion. You could schedule your book to go on sale for a week or a day or whatever. You have control. And you'll always know that whatever the audiobook sells for, that price, you're going to get 65% of that. You don't even have to take out merchant fees. That's covered in the other 35%. So there are costs to the platform and the sales and the process and everything, but you don't have to worry about any of that because none of those are coming out of your 65%. You also get to know who your customers are. You can connect directly with them on the platform. You can connect directly with your customers on the platform. I want to drive that home because that is not something you can do anywhere else. And it's so, so valuable. You can also have your narrator be connected with you on the platform. And there's this really cool tool. We're calling it reflections. So you know how when you have a print book, sometimes you think, oh, I love that. I got to remember this spot. And you'll jot something in the margins or you'll highlight it, right? So you can find it again more easily. Maybe you'll dog-ear the page, but it's that writing. You want to write down what you were thinking in the moment. It's like journaling in the margins. Well, we built that into the audiobook world. Now you can write your reflections right in the platform. You can keep them private if that's important to you, but magic happens when you share those reflections with the others who are also listening to the audiobook and with the author and with the narrators. Because what that magic is community and relationships. Others, and you can see other people's comments when they make them public. You're sharing this experience of this audiobook, of this content. You may have a question for the author, right, as a listener. You, as an author, may have some prompt that you would like to suggest your listeners think about in a certain moment in the audiobook. You might have a map to the kingdom of the realm, the world that you're creating if you write fantasy, for example. You might have images that are really important in your memoir. You might have tables or graphs that are important in your business book. All of these can be added in to the audiobook experience on the AMPlify Audiobooks platform. Do you see what I mean? It is really a transformative experience. And what it does for our listeners is it means that the experience with your content deepens as they write their own reflections, their own thoughts, and as they get feedback and hear other people's thoughts. You see how that connection with the material deepens and grows. And when that happens, our own personal transformation is enhanced and deepened. So all of these things, that is only the very beginning of what we're offering on the AMPlify platform. So let me sort of coming back to my list of things. So you get that direct connection with your customers. You also get real-time sales data and reporting. Some platforms, you don't get the reporting until at least a month out after they've sort of done all of their figuring out and processing. Other platforms will provide real-time data, but the ability to connect with customers is only on AMPlify. You get your own author page where you can have your bio and your picture and an introductory video, and you can brand it. And then there's all these community tools, because AMPlify Audiobooks is really foundationally about building community around audiobooks. It's about connection. And that is the very thing that on other platforms, they realize, oh no, they benefit from keeping you apart from your listeners. Listeners and authors, those retail platforms benefit from by keeping you apart. We see the value in bringing people together. And so that's what we're doing with AMPlify. Another way that we help people come together is through events. So if you as an author want to host an audiobook launch, for example, you can do that. Let's say we have audiobook clubs where real people meet in real time online and talk about an audiobook. So your audiobook could be part of an audiobook club. You could host an audiobook club. The events as well, although I didn't say it explicitly, but they are also real-time, real people, and online. So the other cool thing about this that I want to say, yes, an author can certainly host their own events. They don't have to be through AMPlify. I get that. But On Amplify, when you are hosting an event or when you're planning an event and you want to let the world know about it, who can you post it to? You can do social media, which you should. You can do your email newsletter, which you should. And the people who are going to see all of your marketing communications will be predominantly the people who are already following you. But on Amplify, those events are posted to the full Amplify community. So you and your event become more visible when you are actively participating by hosting events, by being a part of or hosting audiobook clubs, those kinds of things. We also have ways, marketing tools that are just built right into the platform, because I've been president of Bay Area Independent Publishers Association for over 10 years now. I'm working with authors there, and as our clients, I've been in business my business has been over 13 years now. So I understand the challenges that we authors face. I'm an author myself. I've been through the process multiple times. I get it. I know how hard it is, and it can be hard in two different ways. It can be hard both knowing what to do, with the idea of, I don't even know where to start. It can also be challenging because it's like, oh my gosh, there are all these different places I could put my energy and attention, but where do I begin, right? Either way, it's challenging to know what to do and how to move forward. So I'm going to come back to that point. We're just going to take a short pause. Stick with me. I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about how we deal with those problems and even more. So we'll be right back. Okay, let's get real. Sadly, most authors struggle to reach their full audience and find it almost impossible to earn back their investment in audiobooks. Why? Because standard retailers pay such low royalties and give authors no control or marketing tools. But AMPlify Audiobooks is changing the equation. You earn about triple the royalties compared to standard retailers, and that adds up fast. You have complete control over pricing, access to who your customers are so you can connect with them, mapped out and gamified marketing quests so you always know what's next on your marketing journey. And it's fun. A host of built-in marketing tools to help you reach more people, and a community that's excited to discover and support new voices. All so you can become the successful author you've always dreamed of. So stop whispering into the void and start building real momentum. AMPlify Audiobooks, because books should bring us together in ways that help us all thrive. AMPlifyAudiobooks.com. Okay, so both the overwhelm around marketing as well as the unsureness of I just don't even know where to begin or what to do. How do I even get started? What if I don't have I'm not on social media. That's not my thing. Maybe I don't have an email newsletter or list as yet. I just haven't. Maybe you're new to this whole authoring thing. First of all, just congratulations for getting a book published, because that in itself is a huge accomplishment. And you deserve a big congratulations for getting to that point. And now, as you're thinking about these other things, it can be hard. It can feel challenging. So this is why we help each other with that. And so here's some of the ways that we help on Amplify. First of all, we have tools that are built right into the platform. I've talked about a couple of them, things like your author page and branding and things like that, these events that you can host. Also, you can feature yourself as an author. So you could be a featured author on the platform for a week. You could put your title in the spotlight. That's what we call it. Spotlighted the title. So put your audiobook feature or spotlight that for a week. These are things that you can't do anywhere else, right? They just don't have the tools built in to let you do that. You can also, when you are featured or spotlighted, either one, you also then are getting included in the weekly newsletter that goes out to the AMPlify customers, the AMPlify listeners. There are also opportunities being on the AMPlify Authors podcast, which is launching this year. We thought it would launch earlier. We ran into some challenges, and they're mostly around, different health issues for some team members, and they're doing okay. But it has delayed things a little bit in terms of the podcast. We also had some other stuff that just felt like better to wait. So we're aiming for September launch for the AMPlify Authors podcast. So these are just a couple of things. And there's one really big one I want to share with you, and that is the monthly access calls. These are monthly calls, 1 hour long, where you can get small group marketing, mentorship, and support. So these calls alone would typically cost you more than your AMPlify membership, and they do if you just go purchase them one-off. But we felt that it was really important to wrap them into the AMPlify membership. And frankly, they're worth the full membership. Even if you have the highest level of membership, the AMPlify access calls, they make the whole thing worth it, with even, and then all the rest is bonus, all depending on how you want to think about it. But imagine now you've got 1 hour a week with a marketing expert who can guide you and workshop things with you and get your questions answered, provide the guidance, or, provide referrals or recommendations. If your questions are outside our knowledge base, we're not going to just make up answers. We're going to provide you with the very best that we can to help you succeed, not just with your audiobooks, with all of your book marketing, because it's about you, the person, and it's about the content that you're sharing with the world, your message, right? Your stories. They're all a part of you and what you bring to the world. And we want to help you increase your impact and your reach. So what we do recommend overall as a general strategy for distribution, and this is what we do for our production clients, is we recommend wide distribution. So be wherever your followers might be looking. And that way you get that reach and the potential for discovery and the chance of new readers on those platforms who may be able to find you cold. Mostly they're going to find you because someone's telling them about your book, and they go look for it specifically. And so do wide distribution and do AMPlify Audiobooks. And that's where you send your audience in your marketing. Email list, your social media followers, your newsletter, all of the ways in which you're out there in the world marketing your audiobook. You want to direct them to AMPlify Audiobooks, because that is where they and you are going to have the best experience, because you can communicate with each other. You can come together into community, and that is powerful. So you're deepening your impact and also broadening your impact. Deepening the experience for each listener, broadening to reach more listeners. So cast a wide net and then drive your traffic to AMPlify. So again, as we wrap up, I just want to remind you, so join us for next episode, episode 4. We're going to cover distribution strategy a little more deeply, and that will wrap up this particular series of episodes on this topic of distribution shakeup. And please, if you find this content valuable, and I hope you do, please, if you haven't yet subscribed, please do. It lets us know that this work that I'm doing is meaningful and helpful to you, and it does help support me. The more subscribers we have, the more others are likely to find this podcast. And you can help with that too. Tell your friends. So before you go, I would like to thank you for being here. And then also I'd like to share a sample from another one of the audiobooks available on AMPlifyAudiobooks.com. This is going to be a sample of Why Are You Sick? By Benjamin Smith. It is a Titan Gold Award-winning audiobook. It has a cast of 4 cartoon characters delivering healthtainment for your ears and a smile to your face. So take a listen. And thanks again for being here.
Welcome to the Ultimate Health Model Game Show.
What?
Our contestants today are Dan and Debbie.
Will we win fabulous prizes?
If you consider you feeling great a fabulous prize, then yes.
Yeah!
Contestant number 1.
Is that me?
I want to be number 1.
I don't think so.
Debbie, here's the first question.
See, number 1.
Name 3 things that get inhaled when mouth breathing while asleep without mouth tape.
3. Pollen.
You are right for 20.
Toxins.
Right again for 30. One more for the gold.
I know.
Can Dan help?
Yes, we love cooperation here.
Smog.
Congratulations! You've earned entry to the next round.
What has to be taught first is the breath. Confucius said that. And now it's your turn again. Yes, you on the other side of the 4th wall. Ready to practice a better way of breathing? Review the strategies you heard about, then try breathing more through your nose and less through your mouth for 1 week, maybe 2. Notice any changes? Share them with us on social. And remember your hashtag, nose breathing.
And for everyone out there, keep listening, because books should bring us together in ways that help us all thrive. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for joining me on Audiobook Connection. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and share it with a fellow book lover or author. Until next time, keep listening, keep creating, and keep connecting.